Hey everyone, and welcome to our show today. My name is Debbie Sadie. I'm here with Deborah Blassness and our very special guest, Megan Lyles. Welcome to both of you. So happy to have you, Megan.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Yeah. Today we're going to dive into this really special conversation with Megan about the Elite Mentorship Forum, which is also EMF. And we're going to look at EMF. It's all about unlocking your potential, challenging your old beliefs, creating lasting change in your life. And so, whether you're curious about personal growth or looking for inspiration, I know that you will find Megan's story really insightful. Megan, really happy for you to be here. And I just wanted to start by asking you, what inspired you to join the Elite Mentorship Forum in the first place?
Oh gosh, I'm not sure where to start. Peter Sage inspired me, of course. His messages were so insightful and they resonated so profoundly. And I was in such a really dark, low place in my life that I really was searching for some answers. And I'd been searching for a long time. And when I came across Peter's work, it was absolutely profound. And to be honest, I actually started with a different program of his, the USM, or the Ultimate Self Mastery. And I think I got about 8 weeks into that program and I wanted more. And I wanted more desperately. It was so good already. And it helped me to see how much more valuable the Elite Mentorship Forum really was going to be. And so as soon as I was able, I jumped right in feet first to EMF.
Sorry about that. Um, I think it's fantastic that you were able to find Peter and go through that kind of journey. So, what was it, or how can you be like maybe a little bit more specific about like maybe give an example of how Peter's message was different than something else you might have tried before or a different program?
Yeah, great question. So I had tried dozens and dozens of products before I finally came across Peter's work. And they all were feel-good programs. And, it gave me a lot of hope. I was very hopeful. But there was always this feeling of just like blah. And, it never really got to the root of the problems I was experiencing. And when I came across Peter's work, it was like this light bulb went off. And all of a sudden, there was this beacon of light that was guiding me, saying, here are the answers. Here is how you actually achieve what you want and start to live the life you've always wanted to have, but you never thought you could. I'm the person who can give it to you. And so, where the other programs were really feel good and it created a lot of hope, Peter and his work created certainty. And certainty is something we don't find very often. And the certainty that was there, it was profound and immense. And from day one, it didn't matter if it was USM or if it was EMF, there was this certainty and there was something different in the way that he teaches. And not just different in the way he teaches, like other programs, they tell you what it is that you need to do in order to make the changes and improvements in your life, but they don't tell you the how. They don't give you the guidance and the direction because, I mean, you could sit there and say, okay, well, you need to elevate your vibration. You need to be heart-centered. You need to, X, Y, Z. And I go, okay, now how do I do it? And it never came. And so it was like all this really feel-good stuff that there was some value in it, of course, but it never propelled me into changing my life, like truly. And with EMF and Peter's work, every bit of it changed my life because not only does he tell you what it is that you need to do, he gives you the information as to the why and how it correlates to this life and that part of life. And then he tells you the how. And he gives you step-by-step guidance on how to get there. So yeah, hope, certainty. I like certainty.
I don't think I've ever heard anybody say it quite like that, and I absolutely love it. That certainty piece of it. Yeah, I think that really resonates and is very true. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah. And I have to say the same thing. I loved that framing it as certainty. I really love that. And also, you know, because we've all gone through the program, the first thing he does on every module is tell you what the how is going to be, right? I mean, that's part of the whole journey. So I love that. I
Mhm.
wanted maybe if you could go a little bit into the emotions that you were experiencing before you embarked on the EMF journey and dig into that a little bit.
Absolutely. Well, would you like me to expound on my full story or just give the feelings? Because I can condense my story and really give people an understanding of where I was, or I
Yeah.
could just share the emotions. I'm good with either.
I think that people would love to hear a little bit about your story for sure.
Absolutely. Well, it started, of course, it started back in childhood, and that was a complete hot mess, very abusive home growing up, very loud and chaotic. And of course, what does that do? That teaches us these really unhealthy, limiting beliefs that we have no idea we have. And it creates really unhealthy patterns. And that followed through in the majority of my adult life. And I was fortunate enough to find a really amazing man who I married and had two beautiful children with. And sadly, 13 years ago, when my children were just 3 years old and 3 months old, he was tragically killed in an accident. And so then I had to move forward with life and raise these two babies and figure out how to do it on my own. I had been a stay-at-home mom and I had no idea how I was going to do it. I was extremely codependent and had no idea how I could do it without him. But I found myself doing it because we do what we have to when we're forced to, right? And fast forward 8 years, I finally found another partner. And I had done some of those courses previous to now and thought I was in a really good place and found this partner and started to notice a few red flags here and there, but nothing super big that I could think of. And so I made all the excuses and I stayed in the relationship because I was so afraid of, I think this could be something great and I don't want to let it go. If I tell him I'm not sure, maybe he won't want me. Maybe he won't keep me around. And so eventually I married him and it was bliss as long as the honeymoon. And as soon as the honeymoon was over, it was absolute chaos. There was constant fighting. He was always creating some kind of turmoil. At one point, the altercation between us, I had been trying to stifle it and subdue it, and he just kept pushing and pushing. And we were screaming at each other. He had pinned me to the bed and he covered my mouth and nose, and I'm smacking him because I couldn't breathe. And my kids could hear us, and they got scared. They called the police, and the police arrested both of us. And so we actually spent 3 weeks apart per the court order, and he could not communicate. And so here we're breaking the law and we're talking on the phone and all the things. And I'm a person, I've never been in trouble in my life. I'm the do-gooder. I'm terrified of rejection. And so ultimately we were able to reunite and we were in counseling and doing all these things. And 60 days after we got married, he had let me know that he was very upset about something I had done and then told me that he was tired of me telling him how I was always hurting him, which baffled me in the moment. And I turned around and looked at him and he literally had dead eyes. His eyes were black and it was terrifying. And at that moment, he pinned me to the stairs by my throat and drugged me upstairs one-handed by my throat. And for the next 2.5 hours, proceeded to rape, strangle, and beat me and told me he was going to kill me. So by the grace of God, he did not. And I was able to call police and get away from the situation. And so fast forward to almost a year later, he was finally sentenced after being allowed to take a plea agreement, but sentenced to prison for 17 years. And it was at that moment I was finally able to start asking myself how I got myself into that situation. How did I attract this person? How did I allow myself to overlook all of these flags and to put myself last? And I felt worthless. I felt stuck. I felt empty. I felt purposeless. I knew I had these amazing children to still raise, but now, once again, I have added trauma to their life. And now I had to then help them work through that. And so I just saw that I was just creating all this chaos in my world. And why? And I couldn't figure it out. But I felt lost. I felt empty. I felt stuck. And I felt there was no purpose for me aside from raising my kids, which I was not doing very well at. I was just traumatizing them. And but I knew I wanted more and I knew I had potential for more. but I didn't know how to get it. And that was what started the deep dive search into all of these other courses and programs. And I spent thousands of dollars over 1 year before I finally found Peter. And, they say when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And that was absolutely the case. I would have loved for him to come along a little sooner than he did. But apparently I wasn't quite ready, because even after that year of searching, I just felt empty. I felt like I was overwhelmed with life, with responsibility, with tasks and to-dos. And, I knew I wanted to make a difference in other people's lives, but I had no idea how, nor did I think that I was capable because of the mess I was in. So there was a whole slew of really deep, heavy emotions there of, having no sense of self whatsoever. But wanting to find it, feeling like there was a piece of me that was just missing. And if I could just figure out how to tap into it, life would be different. And so that was when I found Peter.
Go ahead, Deborah.
I'm speechless. Sorry, I'm speechless. What a story. And to hear that and know where you are today. I mean, we'll talk a bit more about that, but it's remarkable where you're at now. So quite a trauma story for sure. All right, Deb, passing it back to you.
Thanks. Yes, Megan, I appreciate your honesty and your vulnerability, because I know those are not easy stories to share. And we know each other a little bit, so you know some of my story, and so unfortunately, I can relate to a lot of that, but we're not alone in that. So I really just appreciate you sharing that with anybody who gets to listen to this interview, and see the true power that this EMF program has had for you. And with all of that being said, I want to know, is there a time or an event or a moment that happened when you were like, oh my gosh, this is working for me?
Yeah, absolutely. So it started in module 1. I was blown away and I was like, wait a minute, that's how it really is? This is how things work? That's profound. And it started there and it just continued to snowball from there. And, I will say that one of the most important modules for me was the module on mastering emotions, which is such a powerful, powerful tool. And it took a little while because it's a process. And but that was so profound for me, because although all of the heinous things that I experienced from my ex-husband, and even the anger from my towards my late husband that we can have, like, he died, he left me, how dare you, I've got babies to raise and we were supposed to do this together. But especially with my ex-husband, I was never taught what forgiveness really meant, because it was always conditional and transactional. And it was scary to consider forgiving someone because, apparently if I forgive them, I'm giving them permission for what they did. I'm making it excusable. And I learned very deeply that's not the case. And, EMF and this program has allowed me to find true and immense forgiveness for my ex-husband. I still don't like him. I don't want anything to do with him. And, thank goodness he's not allowed to be around me for another 14 years minimum. But I have true forgiveness for him in a way that I can truly feel love for him, and I feel sorry for him, because I was able to see things in a totally different light, and it released so much from me. And it helped give me my life back in a way I didn't even know it was missing. And, that was the biggest profound moment. Other profound moments were recognizing that my children were paying attention, and my children were starting to pick up on these things, and my children were having little miracles happen for them. And they were having, they were still having their challenges, but they were coming to me with their own solutions, and they were coming to me asking for advice. And my relationship with my children, they are now 17 and 13 years old, and they're both boys. And they came home one day, both of them in the same day at different times, and each of them in tears about whatever was happening at school. But they were able to be vulnerable with me and to share those emotions openly and outwardly and not be afraid of them, and to allow it to just escape. And so, we canceled band practices for the night. I'm like, well, we're staying home. We're just going to be together. That's what we need. And we stayed home, and it wasn't 20 minutes into the night. My kids are laughing and they're smiling, and all of those worries, all of those stresses, they were gone. Like, they were gone because we knew how to deal with them, and because of the work I've done, and then showing them what I'm doing, just being the example, my kids know how to deal with these things, and they have like a such brighter future. But yeah, throughout the entire program, the entire 6 months, and not just the first 6 months, like, I've gone through this program again and again. And now, as a trainer in the program, I continue to go through it because I want to be the best that I can be to help my students as best I can. And I still learn something new every time, and I still grow every single day. And it is absolutely amazing. But it really did. It started on day one. Day one, it was like game changer. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it's really amazing. And, to be that example for your kids it really means everything to be able to do that. And I want to just, you've already started to touch on it, but I'd love for you to go a little bit deeper in how your life has changed since you've completed EMF. What, you talked a little bit about your relationship with your kids, your career, your personal growth. Just if you could just elaborate on that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I will say that as much as I'm very similar to who I was, I am completely different from who I was in all of the most amazing ways. And, before I felt stuck and empty and worthless and purposeless and lack of sense of self. And now, as I sit here, I know who I am. I know my purpose. I know my path. And even though I don't have all of the answers for all of those things, I have a feeling of certainty about the uncertainty of it, if that makes sense. And it's beautiful and wonderful. And I grow excited every time I just contemplate my own personal growth, because where I am now is not where I ultimately want to be. But I know I'm on the path to that point. And then I'm excited because I know once I get there, that's just yet another continuation of the journey. And I'm really excited for the new things, the new insights and ideas that are going to come my way once I get even a little further towards that goal. Because I know new stuff is going to come in, and I'm excited for what added value is going to come to me. Like what thoughts and ideas on how I can add value better to the world and to help other people. What's going to come along the way as I continue to grow myself. And that's like crazy exciting for me. My relationship with not only my children, but my family and my friends has drastically changed. Yes, I did lose some people. I chose to let go of some people, and my world is peaceful. My world is happy. My world feels whole and complete, and it opens the doors for positive, good, high conscious people to come in. And, for those who are family who may not be in that high conscious role, it's okay, because my relationships with them have changed because they've changed simply because they've seen me, because I've been that example. And I have a better relationship with my mother than I've ever had in my entire life, ever. I have a better understanding of how people operate. And so therefore I have a different view of them. And it's allowed me to have a little more compassion for them within our relationships. And then as far as my career, like I mentioned earlier, I was a stay-at-home mom. And at one point I dabbled in the cake baking business, and it was exhausting and overwhelming. And I just was burnt out. And I got tired of doing it because I was burnt out. And now, as a trainer, I'm excited every single day. Like you guys asked me to be on here, and I was like, yes, I want to add value, and I want to help you add value. Absolutely. How can I do that? And so my whole heart is in this work because it is so profound of how fast it does improve. It doesn't change your life. It transforms your life. It brings out the best parts of you. It's not like, okay, I'm going to make a change and, oh, shoot, that's scary because I'm no longer going to have this. Or what if that's not there? We might have those feelings in an instance when we're going through the transformation. But as you go through it, the transformation that you make is so absolutely incredible because the best parts of you start to finally come out. The love you have for yourself starts to really be embedded within you, and without the fear that I used to have of, if I love myself, I'm selfish and I'm conceited and I don't care about anybody else. I was terrified to say no to people. If I tell people, if I choose me, if I'm too tired, if my schedule's too full and I tell somebody no, they might reject me. They may not like me. They might think I don't care about them. And that is so far from how I am now. Now I'm like, I don't know. Let me see if I got it in my schedule. And then my best friend, she wanted me to go and do something with her. And I said, honestly, honey, I love you and I want to do that. But this time of year, it's just not going to happen. So we can plan for that another time. And she was just like, oh, okay. But before, I would have been terrified to say, no, I can't. I had been trying to figure out every way possible to make it happen. And so, yeah, like life is peaceful now. Sometimes it's boring. It's boring compared to what it was because there was so much drama. And, so I've stopped watching television altogether. I probably haven't watched the news for 10 years, but I've completely not watched like TV for probably 2 years now. And I went to the movies and I watched a movie with someone, and it was like a dramatic movie. And by the time I got done, I was just like, that was awful. Why do we need to feel that way? Oh my goodness. And I laughed because that's how I felt all the time previously, of the highs and the lows and the highs and the lows. And it was so much on my body because I haven't had that experience that it was like, I don't want to do that again. Unless it's just a feel-good movie. I'm not doing the screen thing. It's just not going to happen. But yeah, life has changed, totally different. I travel more. I'm experiencing more. I have more joy in each and every single moment. And like I said, it spreads to those around you. People who are a part of your life because their family or whatever it may be, they really do. They see the change in you. And when you are that example, there might be a little kickback at first, but when you continue to be the example and you just send them love, the next thing you know, you're getting things like my mother never, ever told me that she loved me. Uh-oh. I'm not sure what's happening here, but I'm still here. But she never told me that she loved me. Let's switch to another one. And
Oh, sorry. I was trying to tell you it's okay. Sorry. There you go. I forgot I was.
I have another one. It's not as good, but I've been having problems with that one, so sorry. But she never told me she loved me. Like, the best that I would get from her was like a meme on Facebook on my birthday or daughter's day or whatever it may be. And in that, it would say, I love you. But it was never from her. And I was on the phone with my mom the other day. And before we got off the phone, she was like, I love you, girl. And I was like, who is this? Who is this person? Like, this doesn't even make sense. But it really does. It impacts your entire world, like every single bit of it. So I don't know if I can think of anything more. Like, it's huge. And one of the things I've noticed is like all the things I wanted in the past. It's not that I don't want some of those things now. I've acquired a lot of them. But it's interesting because now my like the knowing of me has changed, because in the past it was a desire to have something because there was scarcity of it or there was a lack there of it. And now I have this knowing that it's already mine. I'm just waiting for it to show up, and I don't need it either way. Like, I'm good. I'm super happy. And to have that knowing is just amazing. It's profound. It has literally changed every area of my life.
That's so amazing. Those are a lot of transformations in a lot of different areas. And I'm just so happy, especially, I guess I would say, like, your family's relationships, the ones with your children, and impacting their future because they're seeing you, like you said, and then the relationship with your mom. Like, I think that's just absolutely beautiful to finally have that relationship. And I'm sure we could have a whole conversation about that. That could take a whole evening about how that's changing and growing. But it's absolutely beautiful. So I'm so glad to hear that. And I feel like you've kind of talked about this a little bit, but how is EMF setting you up for like long-term success and transformation?
Oh, wow. Well, number one, it's obviously changed my life. But by removing those limiting beliefs that I had previously that I didn't even know that I had, and then helping me learn how to instill new, better serving beliefs that are going to positively impact my life from here and going forward. And not just that, but it's also the tools that are within the program that you can then go back and you can revisit them, because every time that you upgrade you get to settle into that, and you get to really own that and adapt to that and adopt it. And so, but then, it might be 2 months, it might be 6 months down the road, and you're starting to go, I think I want something more. I think I want something different. And then you look at it and you go, well, I have this program for life. What was one of the tools that we were given that has helped me to get to where I am now? Well, what happens if I go back and do that again? Because who I am now is different from who I was 6 months ago. So I go back and I redo the exercises in some of these modules, and it applies to every area of life. So I can do it for multiple different areas of life, and do all of them for multiple areas of life. And, it's given me the opportunity to continue to have that constant growth and to step into the best version of me that I'm capable of being in the moment. And, it has also opened the opportunity, like, just to have the peer group. Oh my goodness, the peer group is amazing. And I've had so many opportunities, like, I'm here with you right now. Like, this is such a beautiful gift for me. And I get to help you, and Lord knows what's going to come out of it. You never know. And so, I've had these amazing opportunities that have come from being a part of this incredible peer group. And it's things I had no idea. And then furthermore, I'm now part of a team of trainers who our whole goal is to help other trainers feel confident enough to go out and be a trainer on their own or with their partner. Because it's scary. It feels really scary to jump out and do that and think, how can I help someone change their life? It took me how many years to finally figure out how to change mine? But the way this program is put together, it is so cut and dry. It is so immaculate, so amazing that, it helped me to have the belief in myself that whatever it is I choose to do, I can absolutely go out and do it. And I can help other people know that they are capable of whatever it is that their heart desires too. And so that's been really amazing. And what does the future have in store for me? I don't know, because I still do silly things like, I don't write that blog post that I said I was going to do twice a week. And I still don't, post on social media or whatever it is. But I also have learned to listen to my heart, give myself grace, and to know that sometimes you're not meant to do that. And sometimes you're simply meant to just be where you are. The universe is working for you, and the universe is going to provide for you that which you desire. It's going to happen. And so having that faith and that knowing, like, I can only imagine what the future looks like, because in my mind, it's really freaking incredible. So, and just the simplicity of, like I said a minute ago, having that knowing the things that I desire, even if they're not present in my world yet, I already know that they're mine. And that feeling of abundance in every area of life is profound. And I wake up every day and I have that feeling of abundance. And I go to bed every night and I have that feeling of abundance. And all throughout the day, I get to look at it and I get to think about it. And then one of the biggest questions for me is, how can I create more abundance for others? How can I help other people find that and have that feeling consistently like I get to have it? And what does the universe have in store for me? So what is next for me? What's the next task and piece that I get to step into that role so that I can better add that value to other people's lives?
Well, it is absolutely beautiful. Go ahead, Debbie.
It's more than beautiful. And I know you have an awesome future ahead of you. And the fact that what you're really thinking of is how you can serve other people. It will come back even more to you. I know that. I can see that. And I have one final question for you. If you were speaking to someone right now who's considering joining the EMF program, what would you tell them about your experience and why they should take the leap?
When I found EMF, so when I was in USM, which is a phenomenal product, and then I was introduced to EMF, I was terrified to take the leap because I was just scared. Those limiting beliefs were hitting me. But I also decided for the first time in my life to really listen to my heart. And so I did everything I had to do. And it took me several months to be able to finally join EMF. But I did it. And it was the best decision I've ever made in my life. So if you're considering it and you're not sure, take this from somebody who has been through dozens and dozens and dozens of products and read hundreds of books and spent 40 years trying to figure it out on my own, and spent 40 years essentially miserable and lost and empty and overwhelmed and all the things, with no self-worth, no value that I could see outside of being a mom. if you have any of those feelings or any of your own very difficult feelings and you don't know how to get through them, the Elite Mentorship Forum is the last personal development program you will ever need. And from then on, it is truly the only way. You can do it again and again and again, but it is the last personal development program you will ever need. And if you want the certainty of change, the certainty of positive transformation, this is it. You know, and if I could say anything is, why haven't you done it already? Why haven't you joined yet? And maybe it's because it's just found you. But trust that if it's found you, it's right for you. And you should definitely take the leap.
Thank you, Megan, so much for doing this tonight. I think that's probably what I was thinking when I found EMF too, was like, where was this 10 years ago? Where was this for me? I'm a little older than you. So I was like, where was this 10 years ago, 20 years ago? Like, what? Why am I? But anyways, here we are today, grateful that we did find it. I'm super grateful for you. Your story was a difficult one. Your journey has not been easy, but you found yourself in the right place. I love that you said this is the last personal development program you will ever need, even though you'll evolve and you might go through it again and again. So there are no words. I'm just like running out of ways to say thank you for being here and sharing your story, basically. So thank you so very much. And for those of you that are watching us tonight, I appreciate you taking the time to watch it. I appreciate it for our for supporting us, but also I'm hoping that it resonates with you. And if there's somebody that you know that you think, oh my gosh, this person needs to hear that, please forward this video to them so they can hear this message as well. And I also want to invite you to click. We were going to be putting in the comments a link to the Ultimate Self-Mastery. There's a masterclass that you can go and watch and get a little taste of what we're talking about. So other than that, I thank everyone for being here and have a great evening until next time.